Welcome to Discerning News, where we bring you current stories from a bigger picture perspective. The purpose is to inspire clarity and enthusiasm for your unique journey. Well, here we are in a new month, new season. The season's changing here in Iowa, and we're ready for some news today, right, guys?
Spiritual perspectives on the news.
Okay, I got a keyword for y'all
All right,
for
talk
this
it to
whole
us.
month. The keyword is purify. That's the
Purify.
key word of November, which is for our energy calendar, which will obviously have a link down below if y'all want to check it out, which we use every single month and have been for years. But purify is the theme of November. And I think that we found some really good subject matter to go on this week.
But
What's the first one?
yes. Well, we have a number of stories, but I just want to say that what's cool about this episode is that we're going to talk from a spiritual perspective rather than a religious or dogmatic perspective of purify. Because
Okay.
right away, in my intellect, I get these ideas of,
Oh,
trial
purification.
by fire and purification and different, things. Uh, so yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to this because I haven't planned too much about what I'm going to say. I just had a few impressions about things I want to share about, and let's see how it ties
Okay.
in with the theme of the month.
So the first thing is this.
Snap.
Let's go there
That's
because
a word.
that's been the
That's
biggest
a word
headline.
you use a lot.
Nap, because that's been the biggest headline this week. So let's talk about the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
Yeah, so in the US, there's this SNAP benefits or entitlement program where it helps people with food. And you know, part of helping people out is making sure they get some extra components to make sure they eat if you're having trouble. And that started to get popular in the news, partly because uh, when the finances are stretched thin from the government, every little thing is going to start getting looked at. And then on top of it, in the Americans have a shutdown of the government going on. So then these things start coming up and getting highlighted. So that's the latest thing. And it from a purify perspective for me, what this is starting to show is rechecking where the needs are. Are my needs being met? And are they being met in the spirit that it's set up for? Right? That's the key thing for me that I'll start out with. Are my needs being met? And is the spirit of those being fulfilled?
Yeah, when I think of the word purify and if are my needs being met, to me, purification is like whittling down to the bottom. Like, what do I really, what's the main things I really need? And to purify is to let go of things and to figure out maybe new possible ways to do things and to show up in the world. And especially around this subject, because food is an important component. Like we all need food to survive. Even though I've been doing some fasting lately, and you can go some long time without really eating too
It's
much.
true.
And also, if you fast more and do intermittent fast, you don't have to eat as much. So that might be a good way to purify. Just on my little perspective there of how to move forward with maybe not so much food.
Yeah. Well, purify. So what comes to me is, purifying myself of extraneous thoughts and old thought habits or patterns of thought in certain situations, impatiences that come up within me or, emotional reactions or, and just noticing the pattern in certain situations, wanting to escape something or, uh, I've been really trying to tune into my true feelings and replace those habits with what do I feel? And really, what's been working for me in working on this purifying is when I come back to my feelings and ask myself, well, what do I feel is needed here rather than what I think is needed? Like let's say I'm working with someone and I feel like, okay, I need to wrap this up. The time, it's more of an intellectual thing because I can feel the impatience and, oh, I haven't wrapped this up soon enough, kind of a thing. And if I go, oh, there's my little flag. Relax, relax. What's my feeling? Okay, yeah, we're good, but mention this other thing, and let's check that, and then recheck again with my feelings. And okay, yeah, it feels like we're wrapped up. That's
So,
one way I've been experiencing it.
so what are your feelings around SNAP? Is which what we're talking about, Tom?
Yeah, I'd like to share a bit about that. Did you want to go next, or?
We exist in a highly intellectual world, and often the feeling part where your inner wisdom lies gets left out. There's a way to feel more in balance with all parts of yourself. This way is by accessing a spiritual bigger picture of who you are as a soul. Check out the link in the show notes to access a free video series created by the Wayshowers College to support your journey and moving through this game of life. Your intellect and feeling parts will love it.
Well, I mean, so the big picture for me is that I need to be on a road. I need to be on the path of being able to take care of my own state of consciousness, to be able to take care of myself materially and physically, to take care of myself so well that I can actually be of service to other people. And that is a part of the need spiritually, like to live in subsistence or in survival. That is comes with a certain price and cost spiritually, because I can't really grow because I'm always dealing with a small area, right? I'm having to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is growth and learning there, but it is a certain layer, right? So it is a natural component to thrive. Everything on the planet and in the universe wants to grow, wants to thrive. The trees grow up and want to reach the tops, and the tides move in and out, and they want to go as far as they can. They want to pull back as far as they can. There's no limitation, is what I'm trying to say. We live in parameters, but everything wants to grow. So when I get stuck in a certain way of thinking, in a certain way of being, I'm starting to go against nature. I'm going against the universe, because the universe wants to expand. I want to expand spiritually. So going back to this point about the shutdown and the snap in particular, is I always need to be aware of where I'm at and where I need to go. So there's nothing wrong with needing help, because I've needed it. But I also need to know, how am I going to get to where I need to be? Right? That is a critical component. And the moment I tune into that, even if it takes me extra steps, even if it takes me a little while, I'm now on a road where there's extra spiritual backing. If, however, and you were bringing this up earlier, if I start having a syndrome of wanting to stay in that world, even if it's unconscious, right? But it passes down from generation to generation. And then my parents did it. And then, we're in survival. And then now I'm in survival. And now my children see that we're in survival. And it's that energy of perpetuation. Somewhere, somehow, someone is going to have to break that cycle. And inside, if I'm not having the strength to do it, the soul will cry out. The soul will push somehow and cause, like a law of attraction, to something to move in to me and kick me out of my nest, to kick me out of my comfort zone, to do something, because I need to grow. So with this SNAP thing that's coming up in the US, and the government shutdown on top of it, it's starting to show all this again, and causing the people who are working with that system, where do I need to be? Right? Now, there's a threat there. There's a threat. So we want to hold on to it tight. Well, if I'm in survival and you're going to threaten my survival, I'm going to hold on even tighter. But the bottom line is, I need to know where I'm at, and I need to know where I'm going to go.
So what I hear you saying, Tiger, this is a moment for people to really own and embrace more of the purify.
You bet.
And so I know too that in our energy calendars, we also have keywords that go along with this major keyword. And the keywords I'm going to share with you are distinct, single, concentrated, generosity, and trailblazer. So in that sense, it really makes real sense to me that people have opportunity now to go, okay, I need to break out of this, this SNAP program. What do I do now for myself? How do I, implement the new that's being presented to me where, like you're saying, the generations, it sometimes is hard to get out of those cycles, but
Yes.
that this is also a beautiful season of change and opportunity for people to break out of that.
Yeah, it sounds like a positive spiritual perspective as to what's going on around me. And, when things sometimes don't go my way, there's can be a tendency to think, oh, in the past particularly, oh, that wasn't fair, or oh, um, they got extra help there, or something like that. When really, it's an opportunity for me to say, what do I need to do differently? Where have I been holding myself back? And what I hear you saying too is that if when I'm focused on survival, it's hard to stay relaxed.
Yeah.
So it's really important for me, when I have those opportunities to work with my guidance and see how I can work more from my true feelings and then organize myself and act. We keep talking about that, but I keep learning about that on another level. It's only through my own self-improvement that the flow begins to
That's right.
come back to me
That's right.
so that I don't, here's the bottom line, 40 something million people, I think 41, 42 million people in the United States are in a sense controlled by the federal government because they provide them with additional stipend for their food. So you know, they're going to put them, and they set themselves up to go through this. Now, we all want to help everybody that really needs help. And everybody's needed some temporary help at one time or another in their life, through friends or relatives or, through the government, what's available and what's organized. But it can become a trap where I just stay in that old habit pattern to want to be safe. And then look at how the leaders that we have in our current environment use it to control us, use it to scare the hell out of us, use it to maintain their power over us. So I even noticed it in my family. My final comment on this would be in a family where dad pays for everything, dad has a lot of control over everybody in the family. And I've noticed in other families where the parents don't pay for so much, the children have to be more independent sooner. So there's less control over, what they think, what their, preferences are, and those kinds of things.
Well, it's interesting too that, with the shutdown that it's almost to I guess in 2018, 2019, there was the longest one, which
Right.
was 35 days. And right now we're at like 31, 32 days.
Yeah.
And by the time this airs, it'll be almost probably 35 days. So that's also an opportunity for people to rise to a new level with, okay, so I'm not being given this, or I've lost my job, or I've done this and I lost the SNAP. What do I do now?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm going to reiterate because Tom, you're saying, it's like, I've needed help before.
Mhm.
And not with this particular program, but I have people, friends helping, family helping, and I'm very grateful for that. That the perspective is that I'm coming from, or we're coming from, is that the soul, the spiritual growth, the need here, because I can't take all this stuff with me. I can't take the phones, I can't take the gold, I can't take the car, I can't take the government with me. If I try to hold on to those things, I'm going to be stuck. So in the end, what I pull together for myself is the key. And so from that perspective, how am I going to advance? How am I going to grow? How am I going to thrive and pass on what I have? How am I going to keep going so much that I overflow? Right. And that brings me to the point that you brought up earlier is purify to me when it comes to this area is knowing where I want to and need to be. That is the very first thing. If I know where I need and want to be, I can then start relaxing instead of getting tense about my situation, right? And this is what you're talking about. In survival, there's a tendency to tighten up, right? Which is how I restrict that energy from the source, from the big picture or the universe or God, whatever you want to call that. Like as I get tense and afraid, I start tightening things down. That communication tightens down. But the more I say, okay, I know what I want. I may not know how to get there, but this is what I want to accomplish. I want to be free. I don't want to have people controlling me.
Right.
I want to be free. Okay. Now, how do I go about doing that? And I have to be as a child again. I have to be open again. I can't let myself get hard inside. Otherwise, I'm going to be broke. I'm going to break myself and be physically broke, right? But I'm going to break myself rather than when, as a child, none of us think about survival. We're just having fun in the sandbox, even if we had rags on ourselves, we're like, let's go do this thing. And like, oh, we're hungry. Let's go find food. So there's that energy. So I have to be like a child again but still with maturity. And so the point you were sharing earlier in the green room is that purify energy. I have to start letting the water in again. I don't have to go. It's like you were making the jokes like to purify. It's like I'll beat myself into purify. I don't need to do that. I just have to let the water flow again. If I have a dirty sink, imagine that. For those of you listening, imagine a dirty sink. You can get in there and you can scrub the heck out of it, right? That's one way to get the dirt out of there. Another way is you turn the water on and you just let it run. And that water in there, at first, it all gets muddy, right? Because it becomes like a dirty pond. But if you keep the water running, pretty soon it starts getting cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. Before you know it, you didn't even know that there might be some, dots in there, but the water runs clear in the sink. It runs clear through that lake, right? And that's what's needed. That's the purify. If I just am like a child again, I just let myself flow and it will naturally purify things. And then I'll be able to see the areas that I need to actually clean rather than get caught up in all the mess.
Yeah.
Spiritual growth is not a race. It's a gradual progression. You do not have to spend 24 hours a day working on it in order to feel more inner peace, deeper connection to your soul purpose, and feeling more confident in your daily life. The journey is all about balancing your physical and spiritual worlds. These two worlds are supportive for embracing the foundations of the real you. By just investing minutes a day for your spiritual part as you would invest in your house or other areas of your life. To gather more direction, clarity, and a new layer of inner awareness, check out the ebook set created by the Wayshowers College. Link and discount code in show notes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thoughts that I had while you were sharing were around, when I put myself in a position to be stimulated, where my emotions can be stimulated and my fears, that's where people, can control me because it's hard to, once I'm in that mode, I mean, we've all been there. If I get like stimulated in that survival mode, it's a challenge. It's actually easy, but I just have to relax, cleanse, get a keyword from my guidance, take a step at a time, and then move myself towards those opportunities where I can be more free.
Yeah, and I think what comes to me about all that also is that to trust,
Yes.
like trusting where I'm at in my journey,
That's a
where
big one.
others are at in their journey.
Yes.
And I think that's a big one in when there's things like this that come up for people that don't have a lot.
Yeah.
And people looking at that situation, because I hear people complaining and bitching a lot about the government or Trump or whatever's going on. and yet not recognizing, that this is an opportunity for other people to maybe perhaps gain new insights on how to move in their world, and to trust that everything is actually set up perfectly for what they've come to learn and grow from, and the level of consciousness that they're at.
That's, that well said, because I have to remind myself the key word for the month that, we checked with Spirit some time back, purify. So I have a positive outlook that everything that's happening, in my environment and in the bigger picture is set up for me to, if I can work with that energy, that's my solution to move forward through it and, evolve really.
Yeah, and I know there's also there's a lot of people out in the world sharing on different levels of what's going on, and some people have the opportunity to share with masses of people.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, when those people are able to share some of these stories, and also some positive and not so positive stories, it can also stimulate the fear in others. And it can also excite the ability of the collective to come together you know, um, as a body of energy moving forth, and how to work with that energy. Dun, dun, dun. I was like, Pandora box just opened.
No, it just kind of, I mean, I know we're
I
going to go
can
into the next
tell.
story,
We'll
but
go into the next.
Oh.
this is indicative of that. It's like, there's an old story. It's a joke really about this guy that a drought comes, and then, the crops start drying up, and then the cattle and the farm animals start dying. And then, the money is all starting to go. And then his family leaves him, right? And then he's walking out, and he falls and he breaks his leg. And so he's sitting out there and all by himself in this dusty place. And he looks up at the sky and he says, "God, why have you forsaken me?" And then the voice comes down from the heavens, says, "Bob, there's something about you that just pisses me off." And it, if I'm not grasping, getting the signs, right? If I'm not adapting, if I'm not in the purify energy, if not letting that happen, I'm going to go from one tragedy to the next tragedy to the next tragedy. I'm not moving with it.
There's always one ready to come next.
That's always going to be there, right? Because it's always going to be there. So, but when I adapt, when I move, when I purify my energy from that or with that, then I move up and I move outside of it. I move beyond it. But as long as I'm caught in the way I think, it's the way I think that is the biggest problem, right? It's I'm caught in this idea that something has to be done this way, rather than going back up to the big picture is, well, I need my self-respect. And so to maintain my self-respect, what do I need to do for myself? And, oh, okay, well, that idea doesn't work for me anymore. What do I need to do about that? It's like that childlike part again, right? So anyway.
Yeah, that means tearing up the I'm a victim card, I'm suffering card, and then allowing
Everything's hard.
the hard card.
Yeah, these people are against me, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's, I could sum it up as saying having a positive outlook on life. And of course, the mystical part is, well, how do you have a positive outlook? How do I do that, with these situations and the environment I'm in and the states of consciousness that I'm working through and that are around me? And it takes a little, self-awareness to say, okay, the keyword is purify. That's not my preference that they're shut down or that this is being withheld or whatever. Bottom line is, in my feelings, this will not last forever. The people will be paid. The troops are going to get paid. All the government employees that have been furloughed will, or they're all going to get their back pay. I mean, I've been around for, over 6 decades, and that's always happened. So it's unlikely, super unlikely, that that would be the case. So even if I just relax, I'm hearing from my guidance and tune into, is it okay for me to trust right now that everything will be okay? Yeah. In fact, probably sooner than you realize, so that's what I'm going to go with, despite the voices around me or in my head are trying to tell me.
Well, I get it though. I get it that, someone in that situation who is of that need where they literally don't have money to buy food. I get it's a dog eat dog situation. Like,
Hmm.
how do I get that? How do I?
Hmm.
So in our conversation and recognizing that this is, obviously a spiritual, perspective and a way of recognizing how to make this stuff practical, right? Like the fact that we have guidance, the fact that we are in the right place in the right moment of time for what we've come to learn and grow from. And also honoring our brothers and sisters out there who are not in that space,
Uh-huh.
who are not in that space of, I can grasp this and I can just purify and I can, no, it's not fucking about that. It's about being real and recognizing that, they're where they're at and honoring it and just go, hey, how, maybe it's a neighbor. How can I help you?
Right.
Can I bring you a meal? I mean, like there's ways, that we can also support people without, getting into their learning and growing, but being, I guess just really honoring people are at. That's what I really want to say.
And just to wrap that part up for me, ask, ask. Sometimes I get in these big things in my head of what I should be doing or what I could be doing. Until I ask somebody what they need, I have no blanket idea. I have none. They may just want or need this. Oh, okay, sure, I can help you with that. It's like I get into these big intellectual things that it's supposed to be this way, or hey, actually, I just need my driveway cleared out so I can get my car out. Okay, I can help you with that. Or you know what? I can't do that. I got a little limp here on my leg. I can't do that, but I know someone who can help you. It's that just by asking, empowering people, what do you need? Rather than imposing my will of what I think should be.
As the Earth's crust shifts and changes, our lives do the same. One way to maneuver through the small and large moments that shake us to the core is by reviving your connection to spirit, gathering ways to cleanse your energy field, embracing spiritual awarenesses to give you a bigger picture, and knowing that you are not alone on your journey can be a great support. The Soul Quake Survival Guidebook is a great companion to meet you where you're at and support reviving your connection to spirit in earth-shaking times. Get your copy today through Amazon Worldwide in paperback, ebook, or in audio, and begin embracing more clarity, inner peace, and enthusiasm for your life and what you've come to do.
Yeah, I always think what keeps coming to me is, Spirit's reminding me of teamwork. There's always solutions in teamwork and helping each other out and coming together as a family. And if it's not your relatives, other folks that you have an affinity with. And there's always plenty of solutions. I get a lot of chills on that. And a lot of what we work with people in our experiential programs and camps is looking at solutions and finding, I mean, it's a miracle, the stuff you can do and the fulfillment you feel. I felt rather when I've done that and worked with other people. And it's really been helpful to shift my thinking about things or shift my consciousness is a way of saying it, but how I think and how I experience life. What's the next story?
Well, I don't know. Do you want to go on the next story or just go into the happy story now?
What's the uplifting version of the
Well,
next story?
the uplifting version next story
Or
is,
what did you want to mention?
I guess it's about the, being more childlike, and really celebrating, moments that come upon like, and so when I was going through all the stories this week, and of course there were some intense ones, about genocide in Nigeria and about the FBI finding a group of ISIS people up in Michigan who were going to, do some horrible things over
Yeah.
Halloween weekend. I mean, there was a lot of intense stuff, and Then the last story was Heidi Klum's Halloween 2025 costume. I'm like, oh, hells yeah, we're going into that one. So
Halloween.
Halloween. and then every year for many years, what do you want to say something about?
Well, just that all those stories you were just kind of rattling through there, it's all going to come up, and there's going to be more that'll come up because we are in the month of Purify, and the things that need cleaning, that need to get refined or shifted or taken a look at, they're going to come to light
in a big way.
In a big way. And so to me, what that means is I need to set myself up now, right now, to say, okay, I'm going to commit that this month I'm willing to look at stuff that's coming up. Old stuff that maybe has been bothering me, the thorn in my shoe, maybe new stuff that I'm ready to see now. But the point is willing to look at it and willing to allow the water to flow through it, to start to purify energy, to let that purification begin instead of trying to fight. So everything this month for me is not about making a big deal out of it. It's just the willingness to let the water run through me, the willingness to let go of things that don't work, and my willingness to accept new things that will help me move up.
Oh, I love that so much because that really gives me, it gives me space
Yeah.
to also breathe and to go, okay, so all the things that are pretty horrific going on in our country, around the world, which have always gone on, right?
Always.
It's not like, oh boy, this is just today. And even though I do
only
hear
a few thousand years,
only a few thousand years that we've all been here, but I do hear from people regularly, boy, today's never, it's never been as bad as today. This is the worst it's ever been. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So it's always going on, but to be able to take that breath and recognize that, yeah, in the month of November, the purification, the purify energy that's present really is going to be bringing up a lot of stuff for us to process through, for us to look at, for us to, I want to say also, take a bite out of.
So I was wondering whether to tell the story, and most of you maybe worked with me before, have heard this story, so bear with me. So the story is this: there's a person of faith, right? So there's a teacher, right? A minister type, and he has two sons, and one son, no matter what he did, was always depressed, always bad attitude. And his other son, always positive, good attitude, really enjoying himself. So he thought, God, this is the extremes, I need to figure out how to balance this out in my children. He's thinking, he's a man of faith. I need to have some balance here. So what he does is he goes to a stalls where all the horses are, and he gets one stall and he has it all cleaned out, and he puts nothing but toys, all kinds of toys and all these great, awesome things that a kid could want, and he puts the kid in that stall and closes the door. And then he goes this other stall where all the manure is from the horses, right? And he takes the one that's always positive and he puts his son there and he closes it. So he goes over after a little bit and he goes over and he opens up, the stalls. They have those little doors. You can see the door and looks in. And they're the one who's always depressed is sitting on the mound of toys. And he's just looking around, depressed, kind of kicks some of them away, picks one up, looks at it, throws it against the wall. He's like, what's this? With this? So he goes over and he looks up at the other stall and he opens up the little stall to look. And there's a young man. He's in the manure. He's jumping in it. He's throwing it around the room, going, yeah! And he jumps falls back on the manure, and he's doing poop angels and the manure, the whole thing. And finally the guy, oh my gosh. So he opens the door. He says, what is up with you? I put your brother, who's always depressed, in a room full of toys, and he's just still depressed. He doesn't like anything in there. And I put you in this room full of manure, and you're having a good time. What's up with you? He says, well, Dad, he says, with all this shit, There's got to be a pony in here someplace. So anyway, old joke, but it just, going back to your point, it's like I can have everything. And if I don't have the attitude, if I don't have the positive energy in me, I could have the world at my feet, which most people do. And no, nothing. It's all crap. I'll find an excuse to complain and lower myself. And for the one who just is in love with life, who feels that spirit, there's nothing that can go wrong that isn't right. It's like, I know where I need to be. I know what I need. I'm going to keep going after it. That's that energy.
Let's play. So the final word on Purify, Thomas.
Well, as I look around and, what's being stimulated for me, or the ideas that are coming to me, is that recognize there's many levels of consciousness here on planet Earth. And some of those seminars that are happening here, like you mentioned Nigeria, that's not necessarily what I've come to do or I need to be involved with anymore this lifetime. And that recognition just helps me stay in the present so that I can be moving with my own experience and improving my own experience. And then the second part is, and the benefit of that to myself is not just to myself, it's as that flow of energy, that peaceful feeling, that feeling happiness, freedom, and all those inspirational things we like to feel, that emanates out into the environment. And that's part of the solution.
Yeah, for me, I would say that Purify in this month ahead, and some of the stories that we, kind of touched on a little bit today, as well as talked about more in the green room, but said, well, we'll just kind of see what flows through. Is it's all for me. It's all for me to look at and recognize that this new season, this new month, and this new energy that's flowing in this time of the year, it's an opportunity for me to purify myself and my thoughts and feel more into what's for me and what's not for me.
Yeah, for me, I need to accept that the shifts are here and the shifts are coming. And
The shits or the shifts?
Yeah, the shifts starts my accent, shifting things, and then they're here for me, right? They are here for me. I chose to be here, right? And even when I get under pressure, I need to remember that. And one of the distinctions between me and my helpers or my guidance is they're considered pure soul, right? No separation from anything. And so everything I'm going through, my ups and downs, it is a process that's allowing me to purify and become closer to pure soul. And I know that sounds kind of ethereal, but just in my daily life, as is my today one step forward from yesterday? Am I doing that? And so bottom line is, it's going to be a great time to let myself rise this month and see everything as it is, rather than what I think it should be, or rather than what somebody else thinks it's supposed to be, or what some fear is going around, and work with what I need to work with in order to move forward. And to me, that process, not the thing, the process of going through that will allow me to purify.
Whether you are a brand new or a returning fan of this podcast, we appreciate you. We appreciate you listening to the episodes that we create every single week. If you would love to support us by continually creating great content every week, please consider liking, subscribing, and supporting us monthly. You can find the buttons below to do all the above. Cheers to you and moving into our 6th year of sharing through podcasting.
Well said. And so another successful episode. What do you think? Yeah.
Like it.
Excellent. So thank you for listening to another episode of Spiritual Perspective, Discerning News. We hope that you might have gained some insights on the keyword of purify for this upcoming month. And again, if you want to check out our energy calendar, we'll have a link in the show notes. You can take you to the Wayshowers College. It's a fabulous tool to give you some techniques on what energy we're working with every month, as well as every single day. It's dynamic. So check that out below. And hope that you, again, got some insights for yourself today. And we look forward to sharing more with you soon. Take care.
To keep the enthusiasm going, please like, subscribe, or comment below. We would love to hear from you.